Okay, they have Mule Day down in Columbia, Tennessee every year. And it's one of the biggest things in the South down there. There's acres and acres of people. And they still have these fancy mules all over the country. They don't really use them to work, but they're just as hobby. They have these mules and they're trained to work, you know, gee-haw, whoo, back lies. I can talk to mules. I've worked one of many a day. So I told Jenny, I said, let's go down there at Mule Day. She said, okay. So we went down there one Friday and spent all day. And we was tired, just wore out walking all day, watching them mules. And they had a bluegrass band, and I took my fiddle and I played in that band down there most of the time. And we just had a big time, and we was heading to the motel. We was tired. And we had to walk right with the auditorium at the end of that park. And they was having a liars contest in there. And I said, what is a liars contest? Jenny said, I don't know, never heard of a liars contest. I said, I never either. It was almost 7 o'clock. I said, let's go in there. And we can tell it's a good modern auditorium. We can sit down. We just sit down and rest and hear the lies they're going to tell. She said, okay. We went up there to go in, and they wanted to charge us $5 a piece to get in. I said, well, what if I tell a lie? She said, if you tell a lie, we'll let you in free. I said, I'll tell a lie any day for $5. Let's go. So I bought Jenny a ticket, $5, and they did. They let me in free. So I had to go down at the stage and register, name, address, you know, and a few little notes there, and pitch it in a box. And I still didn't know what a liars contest was. Well, it's 7 o'clock, and they opened. They had some preliminaries they did. They crowned the queen, the mule queen, a few preliminary things they had to get out of the way first, and they started the liars. And they'd reach the box and pull out a name. And if they'd have pulled mine out first, I don't know what I'd have done. So they didn't pull mine out till about halfway, and I was ready for them. But then I knew what to do. It was just jokes, real silly jokes. And just to give you an example, let me tell you one I told. I'll just tell you one. I told about my wife. I called her Perline, you know, just as a stage name. I said, we first got married, and I said, you know, it's funny. We hadn't been married for just a short while, and she began to gain weight. And they started sneering. I said, now wait a minute, don't get ahead of me. She just kept gaining weight. She didn't stop, and she got big. I couldn't even reach around her. She got so big she couldn't get through the door in the house. We had to take her down to the basement and bring her out the coal chute and put her in a spring wagon, the mule to it, to take her to town. She was that big and fat. And I said, the way I had to hug her, I said I'd take a piece of chalk and I'd reach as far as I could and mark where I got to. And then I'd walk around where I got to and make another chalk mark, and that's the way I hugged her, before I could get her hugged. And I said, when I got around where I could see on the other side, there stood Bill Clinton with the piece of chalk in his hand. Well, that got over pretty big. So anyway, I told several silly jokes like that. And when they judged them, I won first place in the men's division. They had first, second, third in the men, first, second, third in the women. Well, I won first in the men's division. I got $50 there. So when they got ready for the grand champion liar, the master of ceremony said, no, we got to select the grand champion liar, and said the judges don't want to do that. They want y'all to do that, to select the grand champion liar. So here's what I'm going to do. He called she and I up on the stage together, and he's between us. He said, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my hand over the head, and so when I put my hand over the head, you applaud for him if you want to vote for him to be the grand champion liar. He said, we'll let the ladies go first. He put his hand up over her head, and it was just a few little applause. It was such few applause, he thought they misunderstood him, and he jerked his hand down. He said, I said, if you want to applaud for this lady, for the grand champion liar, applaud for her. Well, he held his head back up, and it was just a few more applause. He turned around, put his hand over my head, and I thought it was going to blow the roof off. So I won the grand champion, and I got $100 more. I got $150. So I was happy about that. I was the biggest liar in Tennessee. Came back. Sunday was having breakfast, ready to go in there in the restaurant. This a girl kept looking at me, a waitress there. She kept looking at me, and I thought, well, what's she looking at me for? She don't know me. And after a while, she brought this Sunday newspaper over and said, isn't this you? And I looked and I said, yeah, where'd you get that? I said, it's in the day's paper. And they had my picture and a story about me and about being the grand champion liar. So the next year, I wanted to go down there and do it again. So we went down there. My daughter drove us, just so we didn't go stay. We didn't even go into the Mule show. We just went to that liars contest. And we went in there, and so help me, I won it the second year in a row. And that year I had my book printed, had published, and I had several with me, and I sold several books. I came out there about between $400 and $500 on me that night. So that's the second year I won the liars contest. I went down there the third year, and I won it the third year. You want me to tell you one of the jokes that I told? Okay, I'll tell you just one of the jokes. I told different jokes there every time. So I told about Depression days. That was kind of my subject, Depression days. How we had nothing. We didn't have toys to play with, didn't no money, no nothing. I didn't know why they called it the Great Depression. I didn't see anything great about it. I lived through it. I was just a kid, but I sure remember it. And the best recreation we had was swimming. Our farm was on Drake's Creek around there, and us boys went down there, and we cleaned us up a good place down there, put us up a diving board, picked a place where we could go skinny dipping, because we didn't have bathing suits, so we went skinny dipping down there. It wasn't long till the whole neighborhood was coming down there, so we had to wear overalls in swimming. Well, it's no fun trying to swim in overalls, so one Sunday afternoon, they looked around and us boys were gone. And the girl said, where are the boys? And one of them said, I know where they're skinny dipping. Said, they like to skinny dip. Said, let's find them. So they took off up that creek bank and walked way up the creek bank. And sure enough, they found us where we'd found a place up there we'd go skinny dipping. Just happened we were in the water up to our waist. And I said, y'all go on, y'all go on. Not going to do it. We're going to stand here till y'all come out. No, I said, y'all ain't got no business here. Go on, get out of here. Not going to do it. We're going to stay here till y'all come out. And we couldn't make them move. They just standing there, and that water was cold. So I reached down. I felt something at my feet. There's an old washing tub, not a wash tub, a dish fan, a big dish fan, you know, like we used to wash dishes in before we had plumbing. And I took my toe in the handle, raised it up, and then got a hold of the other handle. And I put that dish fan right in front of me. And I told the boys, I said, boys, I'm going out of here. But in the meantime, Perlini was a little old girl that was freckle-faced, snag-a-tooth, the ugliest could be, red-headed. And she was struck on me. And she had my clothes off up the bank, sitting on my clothes, just sitting on them. I run right up to her with that dish fan in front of me, and I said, Perlini, you know what I think? She looked down at that dish fan, she looked up and smiled, and she said, yeah, Joe, I know what you think. You think there's a bottom in that dish fan. But then I said, as cold as that water was, it didn't make much difference anyway. So anyway, that was one of the jokes I told. But anyway, I won it 3 years in a row down there, and then they barred me. They won't let me come back. So you won it enough. We're going to other people to. Said they may change it next year, and I'm going to call. And if they changed it, let me. I'm going back next year. I got some good ones for them. So that's how I come to be the biggest liar in Tennessee. But I don't lie in Kentucky.
They call it that old Mountain Dew. Them that refuse it are few. If you shove your mug, I'll fill up your jug with that good old Mountain Dew.